managing access to cloud resources is fundamental to building secure and scalable systems. Yet many workflows still rely on scattered credentials, over permissioned users, and manual policy handling that can quickly become difficult to control. Vultr addresses this with its identity and access management system, giving you a structured way to define who can access what and under which conditions, all from a centralized control layer. Hello everyone, I'm Shivang Shandelia from Developer Relations at Vultr, and in today's Tech Talk, we'll be talking about Vultr IAM, exploring how identity and access management works, the core building blocks behind it, and how you can use it to create a more secure and well organized cloud environment without adding unnecessary complexity. So, let's get started. Identity and Access Management, or IAM, is essentially a centralized way to control access across all cloud resources. With Vultr IAM, you're not just assigning permissions randomly, you're building a structured system that supports security, compliance, and scalability as your environment grows. It also allows a seamless transition from traditional ACL based access into more flexible IAM policies without disrupting existing workflows. Most importantly, Vultr IAM enforces least privilege access, ensuring that users and systems only have permissions they actually need, which significantly improves overall security and reduces risk. Now let's take a look at IAM hierarchy via this flowchart. The flowchart shows how IAM is structured from top to bottom. It starts with the organization, which acts as the top level boundary. Within it, you have identities which include both users and service users. These identities can be grouped together to simplify access management. From there, roles are assigned or assumed to define the level of access granted. Permission policies can also be attached directly to roles, groups, users, or service users. These policies define which actions are allowed or denied on specific resources, such as instances or storage, configurable at the service, action, or resource level. An organization in Vultr IAM acts as a central boundary where all access control, policies, and resource management are defined and enforced. It is essentially the top level container that brings your users, resources, and permissions under one structured scope. Every Vultr account is automatically associated with an organization, so there's no extra step required. And if your account already existed, one is created for you in the background. Importantly, this happens without affecting your existing billing, subscription, or access. So everything continues to work as before while IAM operates within this unified boundary. In Vultr IAM, users represent the identities that interact with resources within an organization. These can be human users, like the team members accessing the platform, or service users designed for automated workflows and programmatic access. This separation helps maintain controlled and secure access for both people and systems. Additionally, a single user can be a part of multiple organizations, with each organization managing its own independent access control, ensuring flexibility without overlapping permissions. The groups are customer managed collection of users that make access control much more scalable. Instead of just assigning roles and policies to each user individually, you define them once at the group level, and all the members automatically inherit those permissions. Groups are fully user defined, meaning you can structure them based on teams, roles, or functions in a way that best fits your organization without any predefined constraints. Now that we have covered the foundational concepts of Vultr IAM, let's bring it to life with a hands on walkthrough. In this demo, Sanskriti will walk through how to manage your organization, from or configuring organization settings and inviting users to generating API keys and creating service users for automation. We'll also explore how groups help scale access management efficiently across teams, giving you a practical view of how identity and access are controlled within Vultr. So, let's get right into it.
Hi everyone, let's walk through the core building blocks of Vultr IAM, starting with organization. The organization is the top level administrative boundary in Vultr IAM. Everything from your identities, roles, to policies and resources lives under this single entity. To access your organization settings, click on the organization name in the top navigation bar and select Manage Organization. This brings us to the organization settings page, where you can see the configured details are based on how your profile was set up before the IAM rollout. Now, if you wish to update a particular field here, you can click Edit Organization Details button, which allows you to update the organization display name, address, and company details. For demonstration, let me update the organization name. Once done, we click Save Changes, and as you can see, the change is applied and reflected instantly. Now, let's bring someone into this organization. With Vultr IAM, you can invite external users and control exactly what they can access. To get started, navigate to the Users section, click the plus icon, and select User here. Then enter the email address of the person you want to invite. For demo purposes, I'm using the email address associated with another Vultr account I own. Once done, click Review and Invite. Upon confirmation, send invitation. You can find the list of invited users with a pending status here. The invited user will receive an email with a subject indicating which organization they have been invited to. They can either accept or decline the invitation. To see the result, let me switch to the recipient's inbox. Here you can see the invitation email clearly showing the organization name and the sender. You can choose to accept the invitation by clicking this button or decline it using the link provided here. Let's click Accept Invitation. That action will take you to the Vultr console, logged in with the recipient account, and will prompt you to agree with the security policy. Once accepted, the user becomes a member of the organization. Now here, if I click the displayed organization in the top navigation, you'll notice a switch organization section. Whenever a user is a part of multiple organizations, the rest of the organization is listed here. You can click on the target organization to switch smoothly from one organization to another. Once switched, the user is scoped entirely to permissions and policies assigned within that organization. Since this user has no permissions and policies assigned yet to resources, they see a minimal console view, which is exactly the principle of least privilege in action. Also worth noting, the next time this user logs into the Vultr console, they'll be asked upfront to choose the organization to land on. Once logged in, they can switch organizations internally at any time, either through the organization switcher or from the organization section in the account settings. Just go to the target organization and click Switch to Organization. But to avoid having to select an organization every time, you can set the one you use most often as the default one. Now let's go back to the TechTalks.org owner account. Within an organization, additional API keys can be generated for users scoped strictly to the permissions they have been granted. They cannot escalate beyond what the owner has allowed. To manage this, navigate to the Users section, select the target user, and scroll down to the API Access section. Apart from the default key, you can create additional API keys for different use cases. For example, one key per integration or environment. Click Create API Key, provide it a name, and optionally set an expiration period for time-bound access. Once done, click Generate API Key. Copy the key immediately as it will not be shown again. Once you have confirmed that you have copied the key, click Finalize Key Generation. The key will now be active and listed here. You can lock down API access further by whitelisting a specific IP address. This means even if an API key is compromised, it becomes useless from any network that isn't explicitly trusted. Vultr supports both IPv4 and IPv6 whitelisting. You can add a specific IP or enable both the types based on your network setup. Now, what about automation? You should never use a real person's credential for a CI CD pipeline or automated workload. Because if that user leaves the organization, the pipeline breaks. Or if their account is compromised, the entire infrastructure is exposed. Well, that's exactly what service users are designed to solve. A service user is not a traditional user account. Nobody can log in as one, as it is a named API only identity that lives inside your organization. Unlike regular users, a service user does not go through an invitation flow. It can be created directly by the org owner or the users with privileged access. To create one, in the User section, click Add User button, select Service User, provide a descriptive name that reflects its purpose, then enter an email address neither previously used nor currently associated with any Vultr account. For now, we'll skip groups and roles assignment, as we'll cover those separately. Once done, click Review and hit Add Service User. Once the service user is provisioned and appears in the users list, click on it. Here you'll notice the same API access and IP whitelisting capabilities just like a normal user, giving you the fine-grained access control for your automated workloads. Now, offboarding is just as critical as onboarding. You can remove a normal user from the organization directly from the user section by clicking this normal user icon. This immediately revokes their membership and access to all resources within that organization. Importantly, their Vultr account itself is not deleted. They simply lose access to this specific organization. Any assigned permissions, group memberships, and role assignments are all revoked at once. Let's verify this by switching to that user's account. As you can see, the Tech Talks organization no longer appears in the organization switcher, meaning their access has been fully and cleanly revoked. Now, what about the removal of a service user? Since it is API only, removing it immediately invalidates all the API keys associated with it. Any automated workload, CI CD pipeline, or integration that was authenticating using those keys will stop working instantly. So, before removing a service user, make sure you have either rotated those keys with a replacement service user or decommissioned the dependent workloads. Finally, let's talk about groups. Managing permissions user by user simply doesn't scale. If you have 10 developers who all need the same access, you would have to update 10 individual entries every time a permission changes. Groups solve this by letting you define access once and apply it to as many users simultaneously. To create a group, simply click Add Group here, give it a meaningful name, and provide an optional description to reflect its purpose. From here, you can attach the group to an assignable role, which we'll cover in depth in our next IAM Tech Talk, or directly add users. For now, let's select our users. Once done, click Review and Add Group. Once created, click the group to see its details. From here, you can fetch the group UUID, which you will need for API-based operations. Also, when you scroll down, you can manage the membership at any time by adding new members to the group or removing the existing ones. When a user is removed from the group, they immediately lose all permissions and roles that were inherited through that group, while retaining any access that was assigned to them directly. And with that, you now have a solid foundation to start managing identity and access on Vultr. Organization, user, service user, and groups are core primitives everything else builds on. In our next IAM Tech Talk, we'll go deeper into the access control engine. Till then, if you would like to explore further or get ahead, all the details are available in our IAM product and support documentation at docs.vulture.com.
To summarize, Vultr IAM provides a structured and centralized way to manage access across your cloud environment, helping you define clear boundaries with organization, manage identities through users and service users, and simplify access control using groups. Stay tuned for the next Tech Talk where we'll dive deeper into fine grained access control using roles and permission policies. If you're ready to try this yourself, explore IAM within your Vultr account and start organizing access to your resources more effectively today. To get started, claim $250 in free credits on a new Vultr account using the promo link attached in the description below. For any questions or to connect with the developers, join the discussion on the Vultr community forum. Thank you for watching. We hope this tech talk helps you provide better understanding and implement IAM for secure and efficient cloud management.